there are people that are not readers that are going to hear me say that and think I'm absolutely insane. That's all right. Hello, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. At the very beginning of the year, I posted a TikTok video saying that I was not going to be doing any TBRs for 2025.
I'm going to try really hard this year not to focus on TBRs.
That didn't last very long. I will say I'm not going to count this as a TBR. In my mind, these are 12 series that I have just really had on my shelf for a long time, or I've had on my mind for a long time, and it's just time to get to them. And if I don't get to them this year, that's literally fine. I'm not going to be upset with myself. Future Emily, girl, you better hear that. You're not going to be mad at yourself. I picked 12 simply because there are 12 months in the year. So, 12 series, 12 months. I feel like that's pretty fair. And not to mention, I'm not only going to just read these books. There are going to be other books that I read in 2025. I'm trying to be nice to myself. A lot of these series that I'm going to bring up today are either YA, fantasy, or romance. There aren't a lot of contemporary series that I have in this grouping of books because I just don't have that many series of contemporary fiction on my shelves. But when I tell you some of these books have been on my shelves for literally years, I'm not over-exaggerating. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We're starting off so strong with Zodiac Academy, okay, by the Twisted Sisters. I have actually already started this series. I am loving this series so far. It is so much fun. It is very much giving like high school drama, toxicity, very heavy on the bully romance in the first book, but oh my god, it's so good. I have been wanting to read this series for so long, and I'm not even talking just Zodiac Academy. I am talking the Solarian universe, which is like 25 books. That includes Zodiac Academy, Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac, Darkmoor Penitentiary, Sinners of the Zodiac. That is the entire series. That is the entire universe. I am very intimidated by this series, but I've heard such amazing things, but I've also heard bad things. And I've heard that you have to get past like the first couple books to really know if you're really gonna love this series. And I'm telling you right now, book one sold me. Okay, book one sold me. I am in for the ride. There is no going back. I am here and I am here to stay. Book one follows two girls, Darcy and Tori, and they are the long-lost princesses of this world called Solaria. When they turn 18, a man shows up at their front door and says, "Come with me. You are Fae princesses and you need to come and claim your title as princesses." And they go, "Why would we do that? That seems like a really actually dumb idea. Why would we do that?" And he's like, "There's money involved." And they're like, "Where do I sign? Here I come. I am coming into this world. Where do I sign for this inheritance?" And the story just kind of takes off from there. The bully romance in this book so far, it is so good. I've thoroughly enjoyed book one, and I am actually about to jump into book two tonight. So I'm so excited. The second series that I'm really hoping to get to this year, I guess not even hoping, I just would really like to get into this year, is the Mirror Visitor series by Christelle Davos. I read this series, I think around the COVID time. I was trying to get into reading while I was in college, and I was trying to find fantasy books that was like would get my intrigue, and this book was so good. I've never read a magic system quite like it. This book follows a FMC Ophelia, where she is to be married off to the MMC Thorn, and he is the definition of morally gray man, okay? He literally could give a fuck about Ophelia. He does not care about her. He doesn't even really want to be married to her, but it really is a marriage of convenience. So she is married off to him, and they set off onto their journeys together, and she is very much a political pawn in his game. It's a very fun book. The magic system is very unique. Their entire world, like where the book is set in, are on these like floating island worlds. Like the art on these books are very telling. Like you can very much see that we're not on planet Earth. These islands are actually hovering above planet Earth or whatever planet is below them. This is a great book for a lot of readers that are really into slow burns, into unique magic systems. I thoroughly enjoyed book 1 of this series, and I want to do a reread and a read of this series because I have only read books 1 through 3. And there are 4 books in this series. I really want to get into this. My friend Ray also wants to read this with me, and so I'm really hoping that we can both get into it this year. So to continue on the road of series that are many books in the universe of one series, this year I really want to get back into From Blood and Ash from Jennifer L. Armentrout, as well as the prequel series A Shadow in the Ember, aka Flesh and Fire, by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I believe I read this series back in like 2021, 2020, and I absolutely adored From Blood and Ash. I thought it was such a fun ride. This is not a series to take seriously, guys. If you want literary art, I fear this is not it. This is just fun. This is fantasy, this is romance, this is just a good time. I fear I read it wrong though. I fear I read this entire series wrong. So in this universe, there is a publication order that you are supposed to follow when you are reading these books, and I did not do that the first time I read this series. I read the first 4 books in the From Blood and Ash series, and by the time I got to the 4th book, I was like, huh? What's happening? I have no idea what's going on. I'm still having fun, but like, what is going on? Come to find out, I was supposed to be reading this series in the middle. Whoops. There is a publication order. I do plan on reading it in the publication order when I go into this series again this year. And I plan on having just as much fun in this world as I did the first time. So to kind of summarize what's going on in this series, you are following an FMC, and her name is Poppy, and she is the maiden of her kingdom. And the maiden is pretty much this very high up person in like the kingdom, and the future of the kingdom is on her shoulders, and it's a lot of weight to bear. She is not to be looked at, talked to, touched, nothing, okay? She is literally just supposed to be kind of a ghost in the corner, like, nobody look at her. Nobody look at her, leave her alone. She desperately wants to be a fighter, a warrior, because there is a war going on in the kingdom that she resides in. And along comes Hawk. Hawk is her guardian. And that's all I'm going to say about that. He's a very broody man, and you just come to love him, and you love him a lot. So I very much am looking forward to going back into this world. And I'm honestly so excited to get back in and read it properly, because I feel like I'm just going to like it so much more than I did before. I just know my friend Sarah is going to be frothing at the mouth to hear me say that I plan on reading The Poppy Wars in 2025. This book is my friend Sarah's Roman Empire. She has been begging and begging and begging me and my friend Julia to read this for years. And it's not that I never really wanted to read it. It was just, honestly, I wasn't ready for the emotional damage. Because I hear that this series really puts you through a ringer. And I'm ready, but I'm also not. That was embarrassing. Oops. And honestly, I want this book to become my new Roman Empire, okay? I want to be emotionally damaged after reading this book. You know, there are people that are not readers that are going to hear me say that and think I'm absolutely insane. That's all right. So I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I have quite literally no idea what this book is about. All I know is that it is extremely heavy on war. Obviously, the Poppy War. All I know is that my friend Sarah said this would be right up my alley for the fantasy lover that I am, and that it's going to damage me wholeheartedly. And we love that. From what I'm understanding, this book is really going to cover a lot on financial status, gender, race, just a lot of really important topics, which I honestly think is what's going to end up killing me at the end of this, is that it's going to make me really think about the world that we live in and how it relates to the Poppy War. I'm really excited to read this. I'm ready to know what my best friend's Roman Empire is. And hopefully it's mine too. moving into YA books that I am really hoping to get to in 2025, we have The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Aveyard? Victoria Aveyard. This book is going to be so heavy on the political intrigue, just from what I've read off of the back of the book. So from my understanding of this book, we have two categories of people in this kingdom. There are the Reds and there are the Silver, and the Reds are to serve the elite Silvers, and the Reds are kind of looked on as poor, lowly people. And the main FMC in this book, Mare, she and her family are a part of the Reds, and one day she finds out she has abilities that are like way out of this world, and the king slowly tries to push her back down and to not let her use that power in threat of his kingdom falling to shambles. I love a good book with good political intrigue, and I have heard from several people that this book has exactly what you're looking for when you are looking for political intrigue. I'm very much looking forward to it. Victoria Aveyard is a very well-known author, very highly talked about, so I am very much looking forward to popping into The Red Queen. Full disclosure, I do not have all of these books on my shelves. I picked these series specifically because I had at least one book on my shelf. So it looks like I might be doing some book shopping. That's okay though. The next book on this list is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Now listen, all I had to hear to get me to read this book is that the MMC is Death himself. Stop the tapes. That's all I needed to know, okay? Death? Listen, I read Nocticadia this past year, guys, and Dr. Death himself, it was enough for me, okay? I'm not hard to please, okay? It does not take me much to fall in love with an MMC, and all you have to tell me is that he is Death himself, and I will fall in love, okay? This series is very much giving murder mystery. It's giving like a whodunit, at least from what I can get off of the back of the book. And honestly, for the love of all that is good, will you look at this cover? Will you look at this cover? Are you kidding me? I know we're not supposed to judge books off covers, but I bought it because of the cover. I'm sorry. I believe this is supposed to be a trilogy when it's all said and done, and there is just something about this series that intrigues me so much. It very well could be that the MMC is Death himself, but I'm into it. I've heard a lot of really good things about Belladonna, and I've heard even better things about the sequel, Foxglove, here on the back. I'm really excited about it, and who knows, this might also be a new favorite series of mine. It's always so cool when you look on the back of books and you see other authors that you have literally just been talking about on the back of these covers. Like, I've really been picking up the right books. I am so ungodly behind on this bandwagon, but it is time. It is time for me to read The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This book follows FMC Jude, and when she was 7 years old, her parents were, unalived, and her sisters were sent off to the High Court of Fairy to live out their days. Throughout this book, we flash forward 10 years into the future, and as she's a 17-year-old girl, she wants nothing more than to just belong in this court, and the MMC, Carden, very much is not letting that happen, and she has to do everything in her power to defy him and be who she wants to be in the High Court. I have been very intrigued by this series before. I've had a couple of friends read and really like this series. It is a YA series, so it's not going to be so much on the spice side, but I have heard this also has incredible political intrigue. And I love when political intrigue is done correctly. I'm very excited to get into this series, and I really hope I like it because this is a bandwagon that I want to be on. I want to be on the wagon. Sticking to fantasy, we have the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I have had this on my shelf for so long, and the more I have it on my shelf, the more I see people talk about it. I have heard this series has the most unique magic system that most people have ever seen, and I'm here for a good magic system. This is giving very much apocalypse. This is giving very much end of the world, like it literally says this is the way the world ends for the last time. I love a good apocalyptic setting. I don't know much else besides that because honestly, they don't give much away, and that's honestly a good sign. It's a very good sign in my book. I know that everything I'm going to read in here is going to be a surprise. All I do know for certain in this is that it is a completed trilogy and that this is high fantasy. So this is not a romantasy, this is not YA, this is in fact high fantasy, which I am a huge fan of high fantasy. I really do want to stay in my fantasy era this year because I really didn't read a lot of fantasy at the end of the year in 2024. So 2025 is going to be my fantasy era. I can feel it in my bones. No, because it's the way that I'm going to have to put all of these books back on my shelf. When I tell you I couldn't be more excited to talk about the next couple of books on this list, not only because they are, in fact, dark romance, but they are dark romance books that are so well known and loved, and I want to be on the bandwagon. I want to be there. The first book series that I want to read in 2025 is The Cat and Mouse Duet. Haunting and Hunting Adeline by H.G. Carlton. I need to meet Zayd Meadows. I need to meet him. I need it like I need water. You know what I mean? Like, all you people talk about is Zayd Meadows. I need to meet him. But when I do say that I am reading The Cat and Mouse Duet, I am also going to be reading Satan's Affair, as well as Where's Molly at the end of the duet, because I have been told by a couple of friends that that is the correct reading order. I am so excited to jump into this. I'm pretty sure like this girl's grandma ends up passing away and she moves into this mansion and she's reading the diary of her grandmother where she finds out that her grandma had a stalker and then she ends up also being stalked. So, she's thick. Like, how much is gonna happen in here? I mean, I love a good dark romance. At the end of 2024, I feel like all I was reading was dark romance, and I'm just ready. I'm really ready to jump into Haunting and Hunting Adeline. I fear this one I might even be more excited for. I don't know if I'm more excited for this one or if I'm more excited for Haunting. I don't know. We have The Legacy of Gods by Rena Kent. Now, originally, I was going to do kind of what I was doing with Zodiac Academy. I was going to read the publication order or the suggested reading order by Rena Kent. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to read Legacy of the Gods. I'm going to read this and then kind of sprout off from there and make the connections as I go. Because you think Zodiac Academy is big. Girl, let me tell you, go to Rena Kent's Instagram and you look at me and tell me how many books are there, because there's a lot. There is quite literally upwards of like 30 books. There's so many books in that universe, which gets me really excited to read those books once I am done with Legacy of the Gods, but like 30? The main things that I know from this book alone is that Killian is our MMC and he wears a mask and he is borderline psychopathic or just straight up psychopathic. And he does some really, really awful things to the FMC. That's it. To be so honest with you, can I tell you a secret? Do you promise not to like make fun of me for it? I just really, really, really want to get to God of Fury because I need to meet that MMC. Almost as badly as I need to meet Zayd Meadows. I really do. I need to meet him badly. I think his name is like Nikolai. Is that right? I need to meet him so badly. I will. I will this year. I will. Because I'm going to read this series. And the last dark romance series that I really am desperately foaming at the mouth to get to in 2025 is the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. Don't come for me. I know this ain't book one. Okay? I know this is not book one. Corrupt is at my local bookstore. I need to go get it. Okay? But I do have the rest of them. Okay? They are here. I need to meet these men desperately. I've seen so many TikTok videos. So many TikTok videos of girls getting the Devil's Night nails. And obviously, if the book is good enough for you to get nails designed in memoir of the books, it's gotta be good. It's gotta be good, right? I know it could probably just be trash, but that's okay as long as it's good trash. I'm pretty sure it's just like a biker gang situation, right? I don't know, I don't care. I know they wear masks. I know they wear masks and they're a group of boys that are very, very mean to some girls. And, you know, it's dark romance series. So I am very much looking forward to the Devil's Night series. Oh, I am so excited for this. And the final series that I want to get to in 2025 is the Green Creek series by TJ Klune. I have literally absolutely no idea what this book is about. I don't know what the series entails, but all I know is that The House in the Cerulean Sea was my number one book in January last year, and TJ Klune is one of my favorite authors because of it, and I just want to read more of his work. This book and this series follows the main character, Ox, and when he is 16 years old, the Bennetts move in next door, and he finds out that the Bennetts have a family secret, and the secret is that they are, in fact, shapeshifters. Wolf shapeshifters. If TJ Klune kind of sticks to his writing personality throughout his whole books, he is very good at found family. Like, he is very good at found family, changing lives, all the 9 yards. So if it's anything like The House in the Cerulean Sea, we are really going to find some really good found family in this book. And I just know I'm going to love it. I just know that I'm going to love it. That's why I bought it. Those are all 12 series that I am hoping to get to in 2025. Now, like I said, this is not a TBR that I am going to base my entire year around. I'm pretty much just making this being like, if you are looking for a fantasy, Emily, pick one of these books off your shelves instead of looking through your Kindle or going to the bookstore, okay? Obviously, go to the bookstore. We're still going to the bookstore, okay? That's not stopping, okay? I just have so many of these books on my shelves that have just kind of been sitting there waiting for me to pick them up, and what better time than now to pick them up, get into them, do the whole 10 yards. I am so excited for this year. 2025 is really going to be the best reading year. I can feel it in my bones. I'm going to read so much good stuff in 2025. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and do all the things. You can find me on all these other platforms. Let's all have a moment for TikTok. May she rest in peace. Maybe. Thank you so much, and I love, love, love you. Bye.